We're here at Gamescom 2016, catching up with the Coalition. Adam here to learn more about Gears of War 4. It's coming closer now. First of all, can you tell us what's going on behind us here? What are people experiencing?
Yeah, so we're showing off about a 20 to 30 minute demo of Gears of War 4. It's a little section of our campaign, probably in the first quarter of the game in our campaign, out on Xbox One, and we also have demo stations for the first time ever on PC in 4K, so hands-on in 4K on PC. It's pretty awesome. I'm super excited about it. Can't wait, especially the 4K stuff. It looks freakishly amazing. It looks really good.
Sounds cool. It is kind of ambitious to come here with a campaign demo that's 20 to 30 minutes long, because you know there's going to be long lines for people to come in there. What's the sort of the reasoning behind showing off the campaign at this point?
Yeah, most definitely. With the campaign, I mean, we wanted to make sure that we had some sort of footprint out there that people understood exactly where some of the tone was going to be regarding the campaign. With people playing it, they're going to experience like a little bit more of the darker, mysterious tone that we are kind of aiming for with Gears 4, which is very similar to the roots of Gears 1. Gears 1 started off on that tone, and we wanted to kind of like hit the reset button and kind of go back to where the series actually originated from. So when people play through the demo, they're going to go through the mysterious and like almost suspenseful ways of playing the original Gears game, but now with a whole new set of characters and a new story with JD Phoenix and his two friends, Cade and Del.
It is interesting because that is something it's hard to get away from with a sequel, that the foe is kind of familiar once you sort of get into the second and third game. And of course now you're sort of mixing things up, so you can go back to that sort of mysterious phase again, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And with the new enemy type that we have in here, which is the Swarm, which is introduced here in the demo, and this is kind of JD and the group kind of falling into the Swarm or discovering it for the first time in this little piece that people are playing. It allows us to introduce like this new threat that people are going to be experiencing when they're playing Gears 4. And what's cool about it is that, you know, it does harken a lot back to the original series. Some of these enemies are going to be similar to them, but at the same time almost evolved versions of them. Like one of the enemies that we introduce here is called the Juvie, and the Juvie, its ultimate goal is to get you out of cover, so you're not sitting in cover the whole time pretending you're in some sort of safe kingdom behind a cement block of some sort. They'll jump over cover, they'll dodge gunfire. Their AI is pretty crazy. They will actually maneuver around, and it's actually tricky to kind of take them out. And so we wanted to make sure that we kind of took like some of the enemies from the original Gears series and almost evolved them and brought them into this new fresh light with the Swarm, and then there's just completely new experiences as well. The Pouncer is another one that people end up fighting against, and the Pouncer is a completely different type of enemy that no one has really kind of experienced in any of the past Gears games, and it's brand new to Gears 4, and we know that people are going to really enjoy it.
It is interesting because it's interesting because the pacing and the sort of the set pieces of Gears is sort of iconic to it. So you got to be careful when you design that you don't mess too much with that formula, because that is what people fell in love with from the first. At first.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. With the original trilogy, you know, there was always kind of mirrored enemies. There was always enemies that would push you out of cover. There was always other enemies that would have different objectives of kind of making things a little bit more difficult. We wanted to make sure that we brought that familiarity back with the Swarm and those Swarm enemies, but then still created brand new experiences for anyone that is an existing, you know, fan of the franchise, or anyone who's brand new to the franchise. So, and this is only like the tip of the iceberg. We just revealed, like, I think it was like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, another enemy type called the DBs. They're almost like this robotic enemy that people will actually encounter, and whenever you end up fighting against those, it's completely different than fighting against the Swarm. So it becomes even more crazy beyond that. And the DBs are a little bit more mysterious. We haven't gone on into more detail about them, but people will eventually be finding out more information about them here in the future.
Another thing that I find interesting with Gears of War is that it was sort of a franchise that took on its own life, because I got the sense from the beginning that sort of the lore and the sort of the themes of the world were much more important than what perhaps I experienced when I played the first game, and that sort of took on its own life. but now you got a chance to sort of reboot the whole tone of the series. Is that something you're touching up as well? Do you want to have sort of like a little bit more deeper themes in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Gears, the story itself has kind of built itself over after it went through its trilogy and it got through Judgment and so forth. You know, the story became more and more of a cornerstone of the franchise. People were more in tune with it, from, you know, Dom's story and his relationship with Maria, to Marcus and his relationship with Anya, and just the world in general with his own Marcus's story and him interacting with his father and everything that you saw in the original trilogy. And now we're getting this opportunity to kind of go 25 years later in Gears 4, and we're on Sarah still, and we're actually following around the footsteps of Marcus's son, JD Phoenix. So it's kind of a nice way of being able to, you know, get people from, you know, the original series to really like want to know what's going on, especially with JD. And then of course, you know, introduce anyone who's brand new to the series. They won't feel completely out of place because JD and his whole gang is brand new to the series, so it'll be really good. I'm super excited about it. I think I think there's a lot of surprises and a lot of things that we're incorporating, and new things that we're doing for the Gears story that will surprise a lot of people, and people will find out here in October. I'm looking forward to it.
We've been talking almost completely about the campaign, about the story, about narrative and stuff. Equally important and perhaps surprising back in the day with Gears 1 was the multiplayer. Of course, there's co-op with the campaign as well, and there's Horde. How do you sort of deal with the fact that this is like a three-headed beast? There needs to be equal focus on each of these components, otherwise someone will walk away disappointed, right?
Yep, yeah, most definitely. Every single facet of Gears is always super important for us. Versus obviously was, you know, one of the original things that was incorporated back with Gears 1, and it's something that the whole franchise kind of like sits on and will always sit on. And our fans love it because it's brutal, it's fast, it's completely different than some of any Versus game out there, and that's what really makes it unique. And one of our biggest learnings is when we moved to Unreal 4, especially with Gears 4, is that we wanted to make sure that everything felt very similar to the past Gears games. That's what made it really unique. But we incorporated brand new Versus elements. We actually have new modes that are being incorporated to the game, including Dodgeball, which people got to play during the beta. And then we have a brand new esports competitive mode called Escalation that we ended up revealing back at PAX East earlier this year, and that people are going to learn more about here very soon. And I think Versus is always going to be a cornerstone that we'll put a lot of focus on. Just this past month, we ended up announcing that Gears Esports, our esports kind of group that's internal with the Coalition and Microsoft, will be having a huge $1 million prize pool throughout the next year, and we're partnering up with MLG and Gfinity to do huge live events pretty much every other month for the next year for people to compete for the $1 million prize pool that we're going to have. It's a big thing that we want to focus on is Versus. And then for Horde, I mean, Horde is like Gears' bread and butter. Everyone always thinks of Horde and any type of survival type of mode, and they always reference back to Gears, and that's something that will always be, you know, a huge part of the franchise. And we're excited because we announced Horde 3.0 at E3, and we're going to be revealing it here in like the next later on this month at PAX West, and we'll have it there for everyone to be able to see and try out, and can't wait to show it off. It's most definitely Horde 3.0. It's going to be really cool.
Sounds very interesting. You do have a date set. You do have the end is near. Yep. Give us the date and the platforms and all that good stuff.
Yep, most definitely. So Gears of War 4 is coming out on October 11th on Windows 10 PC and Xbox One. And we actually have an early access period for anyone who purchases the Ultimate Edition, and they can actually start playing on October 7th, so they can start playing the Friday beforehand. It's pretty nice deal. Can't wait.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because the visions of Mercury left its scenes while I was sleeping. A vision that was planted in me. sun.